Earth's mighty maker, whose command raised from the sea the solid land, and drove each billowy heap away, and bade the earth stand firm for aye.
It's Father Vogel again, and I'm in Wyoming now. I'm hiking around the exterior of Devil's Tower, as you can see above me. And I've been doing commentary on Pope Francis's Encyclical, Laudato Si, on our care for our common home. And I thought it was appropriate for us here today, since I'm going around Devil's Tower, to talk about some of the evils Pope Francis mentions that we have to combat when it comes to all these different kind of ecological, environmental issues. And not just because it's very interesting that Devil's Tower, at first by the different Native American tribes, really its name had to do more with a bear and different stories, like children being chased by their brother who was turned into a bear, and then them escaping up a tree, and then Devil's Tower becoming being that formed out of that tree with the striations on the side, the claws of the bear. But it was a colonel who came through and named it after, renamed it Devil's Tower, and kind of wonder why he would change that. I don't know exactly. Maybe it has to do with, as you can see in the background along the bottom here, there's a lot of red soil, so maybe that reminded him of that. And it's pretty hot today too, so maybe he wasn't accustomed to that kind of hot weather. All those images remind us of the devil, hellfire, and the consequence, eternal consequence of evil. But in the encyclical Laudato Si, Pope Francis, he does mention different ecological evils. So the state, the poor use of our environment, whether it be through pollution or oppression of the poor, using up their resources, all sorts of different kind of those practical evils that we see it's manifested. But there's also the spiritual evils that are more insidious, that are behind all of those practical things. Usually when people come to confession, I try to get at, well, what's behind a lot of your sins? You know, what's really going on? And so he gets into a number of the things. One thing, for example, is our throwaway culture, he mentions. You know, if something breaks, we just buy a new one. We don't bother fixing things. And people, in fact, things are manufactured that way in order to throw away, not to save them. Also, he talks about this consumerism that's unbounded, that we just need more and more and more, always looking for the new and next best thing. Also, another thing has to do with technology. Technology can do very good things, like I'm using technology right now. But if that becomes our sole purpose, is this progressive use of more and more technology, then that's not going to be the best. And he mentions one evil, and in fact, he specifically calls it evil, is the evil of thinking that there is no truth outside myself. Because that lends to all sorts of selfishness. It sees us as being the center of everything. It sees, you know, we ourselves can come up with solutions to problems. And it disconnects us really with the rest of creation, as well as with God, our Creator. But towards the end of the encyclical, he also mentions, you know, as great as certain evils may be, there are no evils that God cannot overcome. And so that requires our faith, hope, and trust, our love coming from Him to be shown to all those things around us. Because evil does not have the last say. Ultimately, it's already been defeated through the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and just needs to be applied to all persons, all of creation. God bless.
Earth's mighty Maker, whose command raised from the sea the solid land, and drove each billowy heap away, and bade the earth stand firm for aye.